But
Mm.
it's not about thinking that you need to improve, be different. It's actually about sovereignty of the
Mm.
inner world. And this is a word that came to me very recently, the concept of being sovereign in your inner world.
Yeah.
It's a very chaotic world when you are an HSP. But that's why when you hear somebody tell you how you should feel, just run
Yeah.
or just say, I can feel it.
Welcome to Sensitive Stories. This episode is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for treatment with a mental health or medical professional. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I am so excited, April. Thank you for having me.
Yes. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to hear more about your HSP discovery story, how and when you realized that you're
Mhm.
highly sensitive.
Yeah, it has been a long journey, I have to say. I'm in my early 40s,
Mm-hmm.
and the true discovery of me as being an HSP just came 8 years ago. So in my mid 30s. And I've always been a seeker. I've always been trying to find, I would say, explanations to my inner world. And because I have to confess that I had this innate belief that there was something wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it came from just reacting differently to things than most people. I don't know, like group setting, long parties, a conversation that were just surface level, not being able to recover from conflict so easily, being overwhelmed often. And so the typical, the typical signs.
Yeah.
And I tried everything in my exploration, also because I also had lots of trauma in my life, and so it's hard to detangle, right, what
Mm-hmm.
is what. And I of course did therapy, explored internal family system, did a familiar constellation, enneagram, human design, like you name it. And what happened is that I had all these pieces of a puzzle, and they were telling me something like I'm a type 4 enneagram, very dramatic, very romantic, always focus on what I don't have. And yes, it was useful to know it, but then the red thread was missing. And I found it in 2018. I still remember it was winter, like early January, and somebody recommended the Dr. Elaine Aron book, The Highly Sensitive Person, and I read it in 4 days. And I want to just show how it is, because every single page was um, an illumination for me, and I define it as the permission slip for me to exist. And it gives me chills to say this, but it's true, is the permission slip to be like I am, because I was trying to really change myself and to be different, to be like the others. And my mom always, since I was very young, was like, I don't know why you're so obsessed about being like the others. And the reason is that I just thought I was just made with the wrong mold. There was
Mm-hmm.
something wrong with me. And so I think there is a before and after from this book for me. Um, Now that I knew that I could exist and be myself, I then tried to shape my life so that my life honored that. And it took a long time, and there's no perfection whatsoever in anyone's life, right? But the lights are more dim. I schedule I schedule group time very carefully. I need alone time. I also cut a lot of relationships that were just constantly creating the struggle of explaining how I feel, and you create a void and abundance at the same time. So I'm very grateful for everything that I have explored.
Mm. Such a beautiful unfolding. Seeker is such a relatable word. It's like, and you're going through the IFS, the family systems, the therapy, I imagine some spiritual exploration and
Yes.
trying to figure out who am I and am I okay? And oh, you're
Hmm.
so true that we need that permission slip to say, I can be how I am. I don't have to
Hmm.
change. I can lean in. I can embrace it. I can make adjustments. Such a needed experience.
Right. And it takes sometimes a lifetime, but that's a very precious message I try to share. If there's one thing that I share with people, especially because I tend to attract in I teach yoga and do Reiki and all the things I do. I attract a lot of sensitives. And if there's one thing that I try to share is this permission slip of you can be exactly who you are and what you feel is sacred.
Mm.
So I hope I help the people I meet on my way by
Oh, I
saying that.
love that so much. You're giving that back to your students and the
Hmm.
people around you. And I'm curious, you mentioned your mom in there, and I know you grew up in Italy, and I'm wondering,
Yeah,
how was your sensitivity, your emotions received during that
there.
time? Yeah.
Well, okay, I you would expect that coming from a very passionate and loud culture, I would like be yes. Um, but yeah, as all generalization, I have to actually break the myth. I also grew up in the 80s and 90s in my developmental years, and it was different times. I feel so old saying this, but it's true.
I'm right there with you.
I'm ancient compared to some. And I have a memory that comes up when I think about this of being in elementary school in a circle playing during recess and just feeling inside that somebody was not doing well. And so I went inside the circle and I asked, is everybody okay? If you like think about the 7 years old, like all curls.
Yes.
And I remember I received such an aggressive, reactive response, like, yes, why? You should just mind your business. Why do you always have to
Hmm.
be heavy? And it's just one memory, but since a young age, it was not really welcomed how perceptive I was.
Mhm.
Definitely not in the pack. And in Italy, there's lots of gregariousness in the culture, and so I was trying to learn the rules to belong. But a lot of the things that I felt that I knew were true, since they were invisible,
Right.
I was treated a little bit, you're too much, you're too dramatic. No, absolutely not. Like a lot of raised eyebrows, right? In my family, I am a firm believer that I am the daughter of two HSPs.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
a firm believer, and in their times they didn't get, of course, the witnessing the support they needed, and so I received a lot of love, a lot of practical love. I didn't receive a lot of the validation of my
Mm.
feelings or witnessing, or just there was so much love that they wanted to jump in and fix what I was feeling, but the message came through often as, oh, what you feel is wrong, and you should
Right.
not feel like this. And I have no doubt that it was out of big love, but definitely this message has resonated in me about
Hmm.
something being wrong. And this has been also in friendship when I was overseas. Still, I had a lot of friendship where I had a lot of eyebrows risen
Hmm.
and about, oh, you're always so dramatic. And so there has been a lot of intellectualization that I did about emotions because they were so scary.
Right.
um Still at this day, sometimes my mom tells me, I don't understand why you need to understand why you feel this way. And I try to explain that it's because I'm learning at 40 years old to just feel, and
Yes.
to just feel in the body, just the sensations, like, oh, because actually if I feel it in 30 to 60 seconds, it flows, right? but
Hmm.
but it again takes a lifetime. So I would say that it has been a journey that required me to make a lot of decisions, but
Hmm.
and I also had a vivid imagination, as a lot of HSPs built a lot of idealized parallel universes.
Yes.
And so that is something that still this day, putting roots down into the ground, is a work in progress.
Yeah, it is it is a process, especially even if that's the thing, even if you have sensitive parents or caregivers, they probably didn't, well, they definitely didn't know because the term wasn't out, the trait wasn't, recognized yet. But they have all these messages that they received
Yeah.
from their parents and the grandparents, and that sensitivity is weakness or it's
Oh, yes.
inconvenient and we have to toughen up. And s- so you are now doing that work to to rewrite the messages.
Yeah, and I try also, I mean, I live far away from my family, but we are very close, and it's something that I try to do also with them.
Hmm.
Sometimes at just giving a legitimation, does this word exist? Legitimation to feelings without deeming them right or wrong.
Right.
Like I'm sharing, I'm feeling this way, but there's nothing to do. I'm just feeling this. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that I feel is very valuable to explore.
It's so valuable, and I appreciate that you said if we let ourselves be in our emotions, they're they actually move through so much more quickly. Instead of when we fight them and push them down, they come back tenfold. So I'm wondering what that process has been like going from, childhood where people would raise their eyebrows and would say, you're being, too much or don't worry
Mhm.
about it, to now really sitting in your feelings and accepting them and embracing
Mhm.
your bigger emotions. Yeah, I'm curious if you
Yeah.
could share a little bit more about what that journeys look like.
Oh my God. Yes, there's
Yeah.
so many axes that
Yeah.
intersect. I'm gonna try not to speak for 3 days, but no, I'm kidding. But definitely the first break of the building has been reading this book. This helped me embracing
Yes.
my sensitivity like exponentially. Another thing in my journey that was very important was to learn about neurodivergence. And
Yeah.
I definitely don't tend to put myself in a lane that is not mine because I'm not a therapist, but it was important for me to learn that not all brains are the
Yes.
same. And so to find also a possible space for me in the world, like
Yeah.
for myself, like saying, oh, maybe I just don't function like 80% of the people. And another thing that my journey was very important was also meeting teachers like Asia Suler and others
Hmm.
that have been incredible teachers to me who shared with me the ecological meaning of
Hmm.
being highly sensitive people. And what I mean with ecological is like knowing that in nature, high sensitivity is a trait that is expected, like 20% in most species. 20% of the individuals are highly sensitive, and this has a role in the community as a whole because they can hear noises earlier. They can
Hmm.
know if a plant is venomous earlier. And in ancient cultures that we think they were behind us, of course, but actually, ancient cultures, highly sensitive people were probably oracles. They were the sacred people in the villages that I don't know, they were in communication with the things that are not immediately visible. And so
Hmm.
this perspective has been incredibly influential. And also my journey with my chronic disease, I have to say, I don't want to start crying or become dramatic, but
Yeah.
I have endometriosis, and
Hmm.
there is a very incredible parallel between being highly sensitive and having endometriosis, because
Hmm.
most of your life you spend your life having people not believing you or telling you that what you feel doesn't exist. And so that has forged me to who I am now, like this kind of rising phoenix where I don't allow anybody to tell me how I should feel, but it took a lot of suffering. And uh, the another thing that is central in my journey has also been my shift from a very cutthroat, in a way, career. I'm a scientist as a background,
Hmm.
unbelievable. I'm a scientist. I have a PhD in medical biotechnology and neuroscience. I then worked in tech software in customer experience for a long time, and then did some patient advocacy. And now I'm teaching
Hmm.
full time yoga and yoga nidra, especially this mindfulness meditation that we can do lay down, the yoga of sleep, right?
Hmm.
And yoga has been an incredible friend. My
Hmm.
practice has evolved. I found a practice that is incredible for highly sensitive people, that is yoga nidra, where rest is truly sacred. And I discovered that we are multidimensional. Even thousands of years ago, people knew that we are, this is what I say, this is the meme that I said I wanted to do, but then I cannot compete. But is that you're not too much, you're multidimensional. Because
Mm,
it's true.
yes.
These ancient texts, they say that we have 5 layers of koshas from the body, the breath,
Mm,
energy, the loving witness, bliss. And so this has been incredible. And the last thing is finding a tribe. It
yes.
has required a lot of hard decisions,
Yeah.
but being surrounded by people now where I don't have to use all my energy to explain myself and to
Mm,
justify because I could feel it in my body. I feel, can I have your like I was trying to get approval just for me breathing. That has been difficult, but
mm-hmm.
definitely a great part of where I'm now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we start to see this deeper purpose, because you're right, high sensitivity, it does play an important role in our society, in our communities. It, as Elaine Aaron says, or Dr. Elaine Aaron says, it exists for a reason. It's persisted for a reason. And you're right. When we were living generations ago, hundreds of years ago, I met, we were the healers, the oracles. We were the seers, the seekers. We
Hmm.
were the ones tracking what was dangerous and noticing um, what plants were safe to eat and remembering and cataloging that
Hmm.
information in our minds. There's a big purpose. It's much more complicated in present day.
Yes.
So we do have to find those safe people and spaces and practices. So I'm not surprised given your nature that you went from neuroscientist scientist to teacher
Yes.
healer.
Yeah,
I
I
love
was a
that.
little bit. I mean, I found a way to have very strong relationship, even in these very like linear paths. But
Hmm.
definitely, I was always looking around and saying, "Ooh, I'm different here as well." Like, I don't know if
Yes.
I'm the right place.
So I'm curious, this is a little bit of a sidestep, but what are you looking for in those spaces where you feel safe? What does
Mhm.
community look like for you now?
This is a great question. I just was having this conversation with a friend recently. I realized that it really changed, especially in the last
Mm,
few years. Now, my main, and this is not something I decide cognitively, is really
mm,
something I feel, is about being surrounded by people that are benevolent,
mm,
where there's no judgment, where there's not that feeling that a thread is pulling you and trying to just, I don't it's hard to put words in it, but where the energy is in the connection and not in the explanation.
mm,
And this really, really, really changed. And as I said, it required some decisions, some disconnections. Um, but the absence of judgment is for me and a very important thing, and having people that they are celebrate your wins when you
mhm.
are winning, and also they can sit with you when you have big feelings, when you're in a
Yes.
black hole. That for me, that is safety. And I don't use the word safety. I know that the word safety has a lot of connotations, especially,
Mhm.
I mean, I personally have PTSD, complex PTSD, so it's not something I use easily, but um definitely
Yeah.
places where I can say today I feel I'm very sad. Today I feel
Mhm.
I'm having this grief, and there's no like you know
Right, right,
it's
where you can actually show up as you are in that moment that day, and
yeah,
there's no pushback, there's no questioning. It's okay.
yeah.
Open arms.
And that's it's okay is incredible because um if we said, like, if you imagine saying it to your little
Yeah.
Federica child or your little April, like, it's okay, it's such a similar, like, sorry, small thing.
Yeah.
But it's a message that it's so powerful.
It is.
It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes I telling myself,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel I'm a little child. I wash my teeth. I was like, today I feel sad. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
just,
exactly. Yeah, like just because that younger, all those different younger parts are still in us, those memories, those energies, however you want to hold it.
Mm.
And yeah, just to take a moment and say, okay, I see you. I'm here with you. It's okay. You're okay. Feeling this way
Yeah.
is okay. It is powerful. It is incredibly simple. And that's usually what works. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be complicated.
And like how you said it, this is exactly what is in these very ancient texts in the
Mhm.
layer. So in these layers, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I think it's very interesting to know how much wisdom there was already.
Mhm.
The first layer is the body. The second layer is the breath. The third layer is thoughts and feelings. The fourth layer is the witness. And the
Mhm.
witness is described exactly like you said, like this loving mother, right?
Yeah.
Bird's eye view that says, I see you, I know you, I love you. It's not like this is wrong or right. And reaching the witness is not something that should be imposed as a result in any
Mm.
practice. I feel that the mainstream yoga sometimes says, oh, if you do 3 minutes of this, it's, how people
Yeah.
sell
It's
things,
rigid.
and it's rigid, it's goal oriented. Actually, some days I practice, I don't reach witness at all. Maybe I don't reach it for
Yeah.
months, but it's there are micro moments that are so valuable
Mhm.
where everything around you might be on fire and you're like, oh, okay. Even like a second, I think is very valuable.
Yeah, it's incredibly valuable to be able to just meet yourself where you are and not force a certain state of mind or a practice. You know, we've had enough of that as HSPs, that
Yes,
conditioning, those messages where we're trying to put ourselves in a box, and
I
we really
agree.
have to break free of that. Yeah.
I agree.
Yes. So I'm curious, we often will bypass our own needs. We push our feelings down.
Yeah.
We will try to be like everyone else. So there's a lot of these shoulds that come up. Um,
Hmm.
so how, like, I know you work with clients and and I know you've done work for yourself, but how do we start to let those shoulds go or transform them?
Yes, okay, I love this. This is the second meme where if somebody tells you how you should feel, run. I thought I was should
That
make
is good.
that's isn't that good?
Yeah.
So this is a great question. Uh, the shoots related to how we should feel, I heard thousands just by myself and in my own life, and I think the freedom is not just to express
Mhm.
what we feel, but even just to feel it. It can feel an insurmountable mountain, and because we have interjected these messages of there is a problem with you, like that it doesn't. And I a little story, I was doing a business school at some point on how to create content online, and there
Mhm.
was the marketing model where the people you serve needs to have a problem, right? When you need to, let's find a problem. And I remember that my mission came out very strong like a phoenix, because I put my foot down. I was like, actually, my philosophy is that HSPs, empaths, highly sensitives, there was never a problem to begin with. And
Mm.
I started almost screaming it at the camera. I was like, no, we can show possibilities. We can show, even with the practices I share, I can show you a possibility of reaching a state where you're calmer, where you have micro moment of peace. But
Mm.
it's not about thinking that you need to improve, be different. It's actually about sovereignty of the
Mm.
inner world. And this is a word that came to me very recently, the concept of being sovereign in your inner world.
Yeah.
It's a very chaotic world when you are an HSP. But that's why when you hear somebody tell you how you should feel, just run
Yeah.
or just say, I can feel it. And how I helped. So, I'm a quite recent, not recent, sorry. I've been teaching not for many years. I've been teaching
Mhm.
for around 2 years. And I founded the Tender Flower Yoga when I was a baby teacher,
Mhm.
with this vision of just creating a sanctuary for
Mhm.
sensitives. And how I make people feel they can let go of the shoulds. First of all, I say it. I always preface by saying that there's no way that is right or wrong how people should feel. Actually, I even always say, you might not even know how you feel, and
Yeah.
that's absolutely fine. And the second thing is that I really try energetically and with my mind and everything to be with. So to
Mm.
companion and to create warmth around the practices. And I the way I teach is summarized in a framework that actually I created after I realized that I was teaching that way, because this
Uh-huh.
is how I function. Like I do intuitively things, and then actually I'm teaching exactly according to the layers of being of the coach as we talked about. And so it's bloom, and we start always with be, that is be here.
Mm. Mm.
And being here has lots of meaning. A lot of yoga teachers push the idea, now feel your body. No,
Right.
actually, like softness, right? Maybe I just feel that my foot is on the ground and today it's
Yeah.
enough. And then the L is landing in breath, just starting to notice the breath, how it
Mm.
flows. And then we are open to feelings, meaning not to
Mm.
feel something, but just to notice what is
Mhm.
present. Some days we don't want to go there, maybe we're too anxious, so it's absolutely fine. And then the second O is about observing with compassion, that witness. Sometimes we get
Mm.
here or not, but there are moments in practice where you might look around and you feel that you're one with all this community gathering. And then the last is M, is making space to bloom. And
Mm.
it's just when there is calm aliveness in nervous system
Mhm.
and body, so that you can truly just feel a joy that is not fleeting. And that's not the
Yes.
goal though. So this is how I realized I was intuitively teaching, and it really, I almost gonna cry. It warms my heart after such a long career in a more analytical world.
Mhm.
The feedback I'm receiving from sensitives telling me that they feel like wrapped in a blanket,
Mhm.
that they found parts of their inner child they didn't
Mm.
talk to for a long time, or I give spa for the soul. And so
Oh, I love that.
this is like what I do: low stimulation, low lights, the music also very low
Mhm.
or no music at all, and also imagination as a beautiful bridge. I think HSPs have vivid, incredibly vivid imagination. Not everybody, and it doesn't mean being visual. That's very important. I always say you don't need to be visual, but
Mm.
people go on journeys where they come back
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, I had this inspiration. So it's it's beautiful to just witness this.
Yeah, it sounds very welcoming and warm and perfect space for me because I am very visual and also though you never know where you're coming in from. So just this
Yes.
back to the permission slip to be
Hmm.
wherever you are in whatever way you need to be and not forcing
Yeah.
it. So yeah, if the emotions come through, wonderful, we're welcoming them. If maybe we don't feel safe in our body today or generally, we can kind of, oh yeah, let's just focus on the outside layers, the foot on the
Yeah.
ground or my hair on my shoulders or whatever it is. Um, and I love the bringing in that witness as things are
Mm.
unfolding. It's there's a lot of space there to meet yourself where you
Hmm.
are, and yeah, not force it or try to keep up with what you think you're supposed to do because there is a lot of
Yeah.
that bubbles around.
Yes. Yes. And especially because in the West, the yoga and wellness world has been focusing a lot on the poses. They're called
Yeah.
asanas in yoga. And when people actually land in environments where we cannot care less if you can do a handstand, like I
Right.
truly, for me, I was like, let's tuck you in. I have a PhD in assisted napping. Actually, that's what the student told me. I was like, are you sure you're a scientist? Because I think so. There's enough. Everybody their own. I believe there are wonderful teachers that do that.
Mm.
For me, in a world that is so chaotic and full of suffering at this moment, because I think we should, denying and bringing this model of love and light is very
Hmm.
toxic, and I'm very strongly opinionated on this. And
Yeah.
so for me it's all about creating a little nest so that people can have an hour where they just can try to be
Yes.
in the space.
We need a nest. I need a
Right. Or a tree house.
or a tree
Don't we
house.
all?
Yes, a cocoon.
Yes. Oh my God, a feather nest. That would be a dream
Yes.
right now.
And I'm wondering, for folks who are listening, is there a first step that you might offer that they could start creating that little feeling of a nest at home before,
Hmm.
if they're not ready to come to a class yet, or
Hmm.
what could be a very first step towards that, if you could think of
Yeah.
one?
The one I think at first is like just finding breadcrumbs back to the
Mm,
body.
mm,
And with that, I mean that for everybody, it's very hard to be in the body. There are many reasons, and you being a therapist, you know 1,000 more than I do, even.
mm,
So many reasons why we
yeah,
are not in the body. First is that the world is going at a speed that we were not even wired for. And then if you have the trauma and everything else.
yep,
And so saying now I am in the body is not going to
right,
work. It's all about consistent micro moments. And
mm-hmm,
and what I send in my weekly newsletter, I have a weekly love notes that I send, are very little practices that
mm,
are we place hands on the heart and just
mm-hmm,
feel the pressure or just gentle pressure. Maybe some other times there is a breath or a reflection, and so
mm,
the breath comes to the body because, as one of my teachers said, the body is slow, is really earth energy. Without
yep,
becoming too woo woo, the body is in the moment. The body is the one that actually has a very, very well developed alarm system.
mm-hmm,
Asia Suler, my teacher, she said that the body is like a bird in a forest. When there is a new visitor, they just like sing to tell everybody, oh, there's somebody new. And we have an alarm system that tells us when we're overriding ourselves.
mm-hmm,
But it's hard to listen to it when there's so much going on. And so
yeah,
little touch, mudras, like even this is a mudra actually. One hand on the heart, the
mm-hmm,
other one on top is the mudra of the open heart. Noticing that another small practice that I try to do before bed that it takes 30 seconds is self-tracking
mm,
and like scanning sorry, scanning the body and say, ooh, um, is there any sensation? And without
mm,
saying good or bad, like, is it warm? Where is it? Is it
mm-hmm,
what quality it has? And immediately I feel that I come back
yeah,
in. And the third thing is indulging in tenderness.
mm,
And tenderness doesn't need to be that we need to spend thousands of dollars in a spa. Tenderness can be,
mm,
of course, it is a privilege in a way because in some situations we might not have a lot of time for it. But it could be a soft surface. It
mm,
could be indulging in smelling a flower for a second. um, this concept of allowing and tending in a way. Like it really helps me to visualize sometimes having a flower in your chest. This is one of the most successful practices that I share. And you inhale these flower blossoms and exhale these petals
mm,
just flow. You have your own little flurry. And imagery is so powerful, even if you're not visual, it really envelops you in a liminal space where consciousness kind of, even the wavelengths of the brain can
mm-hmm,
change. And yeah, and also remember, to anybody who tell you should feel some way, you're not too much, you're multidimensional. This is like like my teacher said, we are like Stradivarius um violins. We are just highly
mm.
attuned instruments, and so we just deserve that maybe more specialized care.
We do. And it's a great reminder when you're talking about these little mini bloom practices that, as highly sensitive people, those snippets of practices actually are very effective for us.
Mm-hmm.
They're really grounding and regulating. And so taking 30 seconds could actually make an impact. We may think, oh, it's not going to do anything, but we're so attuned to the subtle that sometimes that's all you need.
And also, I feel that we're also, since a young age, we're so attuned to everything around.
Yeah.
And I experienced it in my own life too. I realized that it was very hard for me to actually be attuned to myself.
Yes.
And so changing, like if you have a camera and you just slowly
Yeah.
like for a moment. It's sometimes, rarely, because I really struggle with self-compassion. It's something that I'm building now. I'm so good at having compassion for others and then
Yes.
so strict with myself. But having a moment, just, I know it sounds like a little bit not crazy. We don't say crazy, but sometimes I even talk to myself and say, "Oh, you feel tired? It makes
Yeah.
sense that you're tired." And so, yeah, it's a 1 second talk,
Mm-hmm.
and I can feel that something all of a sudden shifts.
It's
You
true.
know.
When we give ourselves a little bit of validation, a little permission, a little soothing, it does shift. And it can take time, depending on our histories and our nervous
Yes.
systems and all we've experienced. But yeah, we can start that change even in a moment. And I know
Hmm.
self-compassion, it can be edgy for some people, depending on what your background. And we can start slow. We can
Yeah, yeah, whatever.
slowly ease in.
Sacred timing. We take
Exa-
our time.
We really do. So if there's someone who's listening that maybe this sounds really welcoming and exciting but maybe
Mhm.
they're struggling to start to be present with their feelings, is there a final message or an encouraging note you could share with them?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my main message is here is about um, truly stepping in that sense of being sovereign within,
Yeah.
and and this doesn't happen just overnight. Um, but the idea of connecting back to the body, like I said before, that's that's one of the main things I would do, and I would remove the pressure of perfection, of time, of length of practice. Can I be very bold as a yoga teacher and tell you that I don't sit and meditate 20 minutes every day? I
Mm-hmm.
discovered over time that I tried vipassana meditation, silent meditation, I tried meditating. For me, for example, something like qigong and tai chi is highly meditative, because for how I am,
Yeah.
this meditative movement. And so giving themselves the freedom of finding something that works. It could even going out and seeing a tree. It doesn't need to be like everybody
Mm-hmm.
else. And the second thing is, not don't underestimate the power of rest.
Mm. Yes.
Rest is incredibly difficult for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with this almost pathological productivity.
Mm.
I think I say it. I think I was burnt out 1 second after I was born. Like I I was already burnt out in a way. It's very hard for me to stop. And one little thing is putting a timer for 30 seconds and not doing anything. Scary, very scary. Just increasing the time. It's called Nixon, actually, in
Mm.
Northern culture. I think in Finland or Norway, but yeah, Nixon is the practice of doing nothing.
Mm.
And that can be an easy way. It's not labeled as a spiritual practice. We're not having to chant or do
Mm-hmm.
anything, but can be, I feel, incredibly empowering. And the last thing, if people are struggling to express feelings, is also to not pressure themselves to satisfy any timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Expression, I think, is separate from the freedom to feel. The freedom to feel comes even before the
Mm-hmm.
expression. And so I think just really noticing. Maybe it's just starting to notice what spaces are taking from us so much energy in explaining.
Mm.
What spaces make you feel a constriction, perhaps in your chest, where you feel you need to even justify the reason why you breathe,
Mm. Yes.
and just noticing without having to change anything. Changing um, make put so much pressure, but just noticing is a great starting point.
Oh, it's such a good starting point. Just being aware, being that witness, um, being here, however you want to say it, and then slowly, allowing yourself to go inward, to try on some of these practices. And I appreciate you saying that it doesn't have to look a certain way. You
Mhm.
get to decide how you nourish yourself. And it could be
Yes.
something that no one else does. It could be completely out of the box. You have that freedom.
Yeah. It's a birthright, actually. I'm
Mm,
gonna go even to say it is a birthright. And for example, like for many years in my yoga, I practice. I've been a practitioner for around 15 years, and at the
mhm,
beginning, I was practicing the fancy yoga with all the shapes, and then actually, when I met Yoga Nidra, as I said, is one of the really the key the yoga of sleep, where you
mm,
literally lay down and you travel with your imagination. Like the impact that that had on my chronic pain, I cannot even. I can not yeah, I cannot even describe it. My teacher
mhm,
Jennifer Reese, I wrote her an email few months ago, like or like a year ago, sharing that it really changed my life. And for other people, maybe Yoga Nidra, I think for highly sensitive people, Yoga Nidra is good to begin with, because
mhm,
it really brings you to all these complex layers of your being and is very healing. But for me, that's the thing that works the most.
mhm.
And my pain went often from a 8 back to a 3 or 4 after a session.
Wow,
And
amazing.
so it can there is a again, I don't go in lanes that are not mine, but I strongly believe in the mind body connection. And
Mhm.
a lot of HSPs deal with chronic pain,
Yeah.
and I think finding soft practices can be an incredible tool, not to make it maybe go away completely, but to
Mhm.
companion it. It's a hard path having chronic diseases, and
Yeah.
but yeah, we can try
Yeah,
things.
we can try things. And Yoga Nidra is such a great fit for a lot of HSPs because it frees up the mind to wander and process, but you're also
Yeah.
tethered to someone's voice, so you can
Mm-hmm.
feel a little bit more at ease if that's not comfortable yet, of just being in your
Mm-hmm.
inner world. So yeah, it's one of my favorites. Also, I love, love, love Jennifer Reese so much.
Jennifer, we love
Oh,
you.
love you. Her voice is so soothing, her energy. I've taken some of her
This is
classes at
incredible.
Kripalu, and
Yes.
she is a gift.
She has been my teacher. I actually did the teacher training with her. I
Oh,
did the full mastery one, the
oh my
advanced as well.
goodness.
And I mean, she changed my trajectory as a teacher, because after meeting Yoga Nidra, something clicked in me, and I bring that into everything I do and in
Yes.
my practice. So Jennifer, we love you.
We love you
Just a
so
free,
much.
I'm not paid to say that. We love you.
No. Yeah, I'll have to talk to you about that more. That's very exciting to hear.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
Jennifer. I
so
met her
good.
for the first time.
Oh,
Like little parenthesis last. You can edit it out as if you want, but I met her for the first time last year after 3 years that I was following her, and I was
amazing.
like struck by a celebrity. I was like, oh my God, Jennifer! I cannot believe I'm meeting
Yes.
you.
Oh, it's so amazing. That makes sense given that you're in Boston and I think she's in that area.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
in Stockbridge.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, I love that
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much. Oh,
Hmm.
so yes, we're big fans of Yoga Nidra.
Big, big, big fans.
Oh, well, thank you for all that you shared today, your story, these resources. I'll make sure that folks will be able to get in touch with you. I'll share your website, your social media,
Mhm.
all of your resources in the show notes. But before we go, I'm wondering if you could tell listeners a little bit more about what you have to offer.
Yes, yeah. So I just got into the online space. So I've been teaching full time live classes, but now I'm trying to build a sanctuary online. And so I have a mini bloom kit that is a free resource, and it's an on demand, so you can do it whenever you would
Mm,
like. 3 days experience. I call it mini retreat, where we truly harvest all the beautiful like qualities of gentle yoga,
mm,
restorative yoga, yoga nidra, mudras. And so I like to think about it like a little walk in a greenhouse. And so the first day, we find a sequence of mudra that is very much heart centered, where we
Mm.
allow and tend. And this image of the flower and the heart is very beautiful. Day two is a restorative yoga, very gentle movement we do together. And the third day is a beautiful Yoga Nidra journey. So a tiny bit
Mm.
longer. We travel in a moss forest. We just lay down in a beautiful flower. It's I had incredible feedback for this, and I pulled my entire heart into this
Mm.
first seed, and I'm working at also other offering, always very much nature centered, because nature is my main inspiration. And so,
Mm.
yeah, I also have a newsletter. If you decide to be part of this mini bloom kit, you will be in my newsletter receiving
Mhm.
some love notes on a weekly basis for sensitive hearts. Or otherwise, I shared with April also the link to the Inner Bloom Circle. That is my mailing list. And I would love to just get to know anybody who wants to share space.
Oh, it sounds so delightful. Just my cup of tea, for sure.
Come to the mini bloom kit too,
I am.
April.
I'm signing up today because I'm a big
Oh.
visualizer, so that is just,
Mm,
and I often will go to nature spaces in my mind when I'm doing body work or yoga nidra or
mhm.
shavasana meditations. However, I'm journaling inward. I'm journeying inward.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it sounds amazing. Thank you so
And
much.
if I can add just one thing,
Yeah,
I know
please.
that sometimes people that are not visual, they get a little
Yeah.
bit nervous. But I just want to reassure that we are all different, and the experience of a yoga nidra journey is not only through the visual channel.
Mhm.
Some people hear things, some people sense or feel. So don't think that is not for you if you're not a visual person, because imagination. We receive the world in different ways, and I had great feedback from people that actually were not visual at all. So I hope you
Great.
can, yeah, people can share what they think.
Oh, that's good to know because yes, people have attachments to different senses and
Yeah,
experience the world through different senses. So it's helpful to remind folks that, yeah, you can go and connect through it through multiple channels. That is
yeah,
reassuring. Yeah,
that's so beautiful.
wonderful.
That's the beauty of yoga nidra. If you could
Exactly.
love it more.
Exactly. Magical.
Magical,
Oh,
yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you, April.